and see what that sounds like. One day. There we go. Okay. Turn that off. Alright. Yes, you are first, Dylan. Congratulations. Alright. Get everything set here. And mute this, and we'll be good to go. Alright. One more thing. Alright, there we go. Now we can begin. So, today I am painting a Blood Knight, one of the new Blood Knights from the Soulblight Gravelords. And we're going to do him... I'm going to clean up some super glue that's right here first. That's better. Just a little bit of super glue leaked out. We're going to do him in a metallic purple and blue style. And this is also, I believe, my first stream that I'm streaming in 60 frames instead of 30. So hopefully that looks good. We'll see if it manages to stay like that the whole time. But let's begin. So we're going to start off with a blend of Black Templar and not Aggro Students. Black Templar and Skeleton Horde. And we're going to wet blend, but we're going to wet blend with contrast paint, which is the easiest kind of wet blending you can ever possibly imagine. So I'm just going to open both my paints here. I also mentioned that I'm using the new Citadel synthetic brushes, or really brush. I'm just going to use the medium one today. And I'm quite liking them. So if you're interested, if you saw that announcement and are interested in them, I would encourage you to pick them up. They seem to be decent. So what I'm going to do here is put the Black Templar kind of on the bottom area of each leg, just like this, and then make sure rinse my brush off, and then take the Skeleton Horde and just kind of blend this black into each leg, just like that. It can be kind of difficult because there's a lot of stuff going on here that isn't leg. There's armor and straps and all sorts of stuff. But that's the basic idea. Just gives the horse a little bit more flair rather than just putting a single color on it. And the whole army, all the beasts in the army have this same sort of fade on them. If you've seen my Lauka Vi video that I put up on Saturday, she bottom half of her, the dragon half of her, have these giant wings, and we do a Skeleton Horde to black fade on them as well. Maybe it doesn't really make sense that skeletal steeds and giant centaur dragons and stuff all have the same skin tone, but it looks cool, and that's all I care about. So we're just going to do the other 2 feet now. The idea is, again, just to put the Black Templar on feet and put it on pretty thick because you need enough to blend with. Then make sure your brush is nice and rinsed because you don't want to contaminate your Skeleton Horde. And then just kind of mix the 2 up into there like that. And then we have as you can see there, a sort of black to this lighter color transition. And it is just the feet of the horse, so it's, not crucial that it looks amazing. But just for a little bit of fun and to show that wet blending with contrast paint is super easy. Wet blending, at least for me, when I first heard and learned about wet blending, it seemed pretty difficult compared to how I normally paint, but doing it with contrast paint is easy. And all wet blending is, by the way, it just means that both your paints are wet when you're doing your blending, as opposed to painting a color on and then gradienting your other color onto that color once it's dry. Both of your paints are wet and you're going back and forth mixing them together basically. So now we're just going to get the rest of the horse, and there's not a lot more of it exposed here, but... And this is just pure skeleton horde that we're using here. And we are going to come back and paint this, the head of the skeletal steed, in a bone color, but for now I'm going to just block it in with this skeleton horde. And we've got a little more skin down in there. We don't want to miss that. Let's see, what else? Is there any other skin anywhere? I don't think so. I'm going to find a spot of horse skin later that I didn't paint, and it's going to bug me. I'm just going to spend the time now to figure it out. Alright, I think that's it. So, that's the only blend we're doing on this model, so... Done with those paints. Now we're going to go to Agros Dunes. This paint scheme, by the way, doesn't use that many colors, but... So now we're using Agros Dunes, and we're going to do the tail and the mane in this color. Go, and then the horse's mane as well. And pretty much everything up beyond this step, I believe, is that right? Yeah, everything beyond this step is layer paint, not contrast paint, so we can be messy here and not worry about ruining our surfaces for further paint. Sure to get all that in there. Alright. Here we go. Then, I think I'm just deciding which of the layer paints we want to do next. I think I'll do the blue next. So I'll start with this, which is the Fang. This is going to be the base coat that we're going to use for... Lost the paint I need. Here we go. Fenrisian Gray is going to be our ultimate color, but putting the Fang under it gives it a nice blue coat to sit on top of and makes the Fenrisian Gray show up in the blue that it's supposed to be instead of this sort of flat gray color. Even though it is called Fenrisian Gray, we want it to appear more blue. So all the cloth on this guy will be blocked in with the Fang. And again, we're not using any more contrast paint on this guy, so we can be messy and just go for speed and not have to worry about it. Just make sure not to get any up on the horse skin there. Get all that in there. And the other side. And then this guy is the sergeant of the squad. Don't remember what his actual name is. They all have fancy names in Age of Sigmar, and they're not just sergeants. And so this guy has a cape. So we'll block that in with this color as well. There we go. Again, making sure to not hit the horse skin here. the end of the day, though, it is underneath the horse, so no one will probably see it. So it's not a big deal. All right. And when I was originally devising this color scheme, I was originally going to leave it this color and not do... And, well, this was going to be the final color of the cloth. But then a friend pointed out to me that because we're doing the armor in purple, this dark blue color combined with that purple makes them all look like Skeletor. And while Skeletor is a perfectly acceptable character, don't really want an army of Skeletors running around. So we had to change it, and the easiest change was just to put Fenrisian Gray over the Fang. Alright, that'll do. Oh, got a little spot in there. There we go. Alright, I believe that's all the claw. Nope, I lied. I forgot we do the reins in this color as well. Just gotta be careful around this hair here if it's still a little wet, which it seems like it might be. Go inside of the rein here. Alright, we just got a little bit poking through here in the hair. The hair's still a little bit wet, but it'll be okay. We're going to come back with Fenrisian Gray anyway, like I said, so we'll tidy that up when we do that. Okay. Now I think we'll do the gold. No, we'll do the silver now. So for the silver, I'm going to use Stormhost silver. It's a nice, very bright silver, which is what we want for the base for our metallic purple. Okay. So this is going to be all the metal on this guy, except for the chainmail. This kind of weird spiky chainmail is going to be gold, so we can ignore that for now. And our metallic purple we're going to use is it's like almost translucent. It's not quite translucent, but it does its luster changes based on what's under it. So I think it is just slightly more transparent than a normal paint, for instance. Most normal paints, you can see some very subtle variation depending on what base coat they're over. But most of the time they'll look pretty similar. This will look drastically different depending on what's under it. So giving it a nice shiny base coat will help it be even shinier. And this bat head here on the front is going to be gold, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I'm just getting all the pieces around it. Come back to that spot since the blue is still wet there. And there's definitely cause to leave this shield off when you paint these guys, but I just wanted to see what they were going to look like fully glued up, so I didn't bother. For this paint job, it's not going to trouble us very much because of the monochromatic nature of the miniature, but if we were doing a more detailed paint job, it would definitely behoove us to leave the shield off the miniature. This Stormhost Silver is quite thin, so just making sure that I don't leave any big globs or dollops, not gollops like I tried to say, sitting on the miniature anywhere. Again, it won't be super critical because having a giant chunk of the miniature be a metallic color will hide some detail to a greater or lesser extent. But we still don't want... one, we just don't want to make bad habits for our painting in the future. And two, we want to have as much detail shown as we can. This guy has just bat wings galore. He's got bat wings on his head. And he's got like a bat wing thing behind his head. And then he's got these two giant bat wings sticking out of his shoulders. Ridiculous. And as you can see, I got some silver on the cape there. But because we're going to come back with Fenrisian Gray, we can just ignore that and we'll fix it later. And also, because we're going to come back with our main purple color, we don't have to get a perfect coverage of this silver on the miniature. As long as we get it mostly on there, we'll be good. Do these neck armor plates for the horse now. Being careful not to get any of this paint on the hair or the skin of the horse. And then we have to not forget about the leg armor on this horse. Gotta make sure to block that in as well. Alright, I think that's all the silver besides the leg armor that we need to do. So we'll go to the leg armor now. There we go. One leg down, 3 to go. The army appears to be doing some sort of maneuvers outside or in the airspace around my house, so if you If you hear an explosion, I guess they goofed. And last bit of horse armor. And we're good. Alright. There we go. Alright. Now, we gotta wait for that to dry before we can start applying the purple. So, we'll just do some other small details while we wait. So, I'll start with Screaming Skull. I'm gonna do the bones in this color. The bones are gonna be the face of the head of the skeletal steed here, as well as the hooves and the little like ankle spikes he's got. A little too thin there on my paint. There we go. And this, as usual, I'm just going for battle ready here. So we're not going to go crazy on this. We're just going to paint it in this bone color, and then the Nuln Oil we apply later will do the rest for us. Alright, no spike on this one. I think that's hair. It's kind of hard to tell if that's hair or a spike. I'm going to leave it as just hair. Just paint in the hoof itself. Alright. These, though, the back legs, definitely have spikes on them. So I will paint those in. I'm trying to remember on the other one I painted if all 4 legs had spikes or not. Alright, there we go. There's all that. I will block in his weapon. And I'm just going to use a darker silver for that. So that's going to be Iron Warriors. I think when I was looking on the data sheet for this guy, he was described as having like something blades. I mean, I guess this giant mace is technically bladed, but still seems like an odd name for the weapon. You could have called it like the Mace of Destruction or something. It also very much looks like, well, I don't know about very much, but it is similar at least to the Witch King's mace in Return of the King. I do wonder, since the company makes the Lord of the Rings miniature game also, how much design crossover is there? I would assume not a lot, because it's separate design teams, but you never know. Alright, so now I think it is time to go to the purple. So, that is going to be this color. It's called Pearl Plum. It's from Createx Airbrush Colors. I'd never heard of this company, or especially this color, before I found it at Hobby Lobby the other day. And then I had no idea what I was going to use it for, but I knew it looked cool. And then when I was coming up with a paint scheme for these guys, this is what I landed on. So, here we go. So we're just going to apply this. Sorry, there's a mixing bead in it, so it's a little loud, I'm sure. We're just going to put this on a palette here, and then apply this over the silver. And we'll probably need 2 coats of this, because it is quite thin, like I said. Just get it all And the first coat will look kind of streaky. That's okay. We'll fix that in the second coat. At least I hope. That's the plan. It worked the first time on the first model. Just making sure I got all that covered there. And I'm sure also there are many companies that make a metallic purple paint, and probably many companies that make a metallic purple paint that is superior for, but this is just what I happened to stumble on. I didn't go out looking for a purple metallic. It was just shopping around for other stuff and happened to see it and thought it looked cool, so. Make sure to get all the sides of this armor here. I'm putting it on thicker than I might put on a regular paint, because I know I'm going to come back and fix up any splotchiness. And I want there to be a good solid coating of it. And I've noticed also that this paint looks quite a bit more pink on stream and on camera than it does in real life. So if you're looking at it thinking it looks a little wonky and doesn't look like purple, then that's probably why. Make sure to get all this guy's metal, the back of his shield and his arm, the leg down in here. Trying my best to avoid spots we've already painted. I think I'm doing that more or less. There's a reason we did or we haven't done the saddle or the straps or anything like that yet. So that would be quite an annoying thing to paint around with this color. Just a little bit more down in there. Alright, oh, that's the part that's going to be gold later. That's right. Alright, and I'll do up here. I'm going to be a little more careful around this area. I'm guessing because of the drying time that's going to be required on this stuff, this is going to be a cooking show episode where I put all the colors on except the wash, and then I'll just have to show you what one looks like once the wash has been applied, because when I did this the first time, if I remember, I left this to dry for almost an hour before applying wash to it. But we'll see. Just get that bit of purple off there. Alright, I think we have purple everywhere we want it, except for leg armor again. So we'll just do the leg armor real quick. Okay. Back leg armor here. Excellent. Alright, I think now we have purple everywhere we want it. And now I'm just going to go back over some areas and put a little bit more of this on. Try to get it to not be streaky, but the ink wash that we put on at the end seems to help with that also. So alright, I think we'll let that dry before putting any more on. And we will go to the gold. No, first we're going to blow dry. Then we'll move on to the gold. So I'm going to mute myself real quick so I don't deafen everybody. And I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. Now we'll go on and do the gold. For that, we're going to use Retributor armor. And so we're going to paint, as you might have guessed, since I didn't paint it purple, we're going to paint this part of the armor back here in gold. Alright. And then we're going to get this chain mail or plate mail or whatever this is, scale mail. I don't know. This spiky looking stuff hanging down here. It's going to be gold. And I believe this is the only model, this Sergeant model is the only one that has this spiky stuff hanging down like this. The rest of them just have some like general barding on them, but no more armor here. And you'll see that when I cooking show the wash step. You can see that. We'll also cooking show the base because the texture paint has to take quite a while to dry. And we're using the color of the texture paint in the final look of the base, so I couldn't just apply it earlier, because then when we did our stuff on the feet down here, it would have ruined that. So two giant black splotches around the feet on the dirt wouldn't really make sense. Just being careful in here around the purple. We got some more purple in here. Or some more gold, rather, in here. And as soon as we're done with this, I'll go in and do a second coat of purple in a couple places. Not going to be a complete recoloring, but I'll add it in a couple places. Alright, what else needs to be gold? Oh, this face on the horse's chest here is going to be gold. There we go. And then I feel like there was something else I wanted to do gold on him, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, right. The face on the shield. Okay. That looks good. Then, like I said, I'm going to go back and do some more purple. Give it a good shake up. I assume if you don't shake this purple really well, it will separate, since it is just basically a bottle of glitter. For better or worse. So I'm just going to apply some of this into some of the bigger, flatter areas that the paint sort of thinned out a little bit. And like I said, the wash that we do later will also help to even out some of this splotchiness and make it look much better. Right, and then back here. There we go. And then just up here on the horse armor or neck armor. And I noticed there's some back here that I didn't get the first go through, so I'll just grab that real quick. Alright, that'll do, I think. So now we just have a couple colors left. So we'll start with the Fenrisian Gray. We're going to put that over everywhere that has the fang on it. We're going to go over that, like I talked about in the beginning. And you don't have to have perfect coverage on this, because it will just help kind of sell the effect of tattered cloth that it is. So I'm covering most of the fang, but I'm not super worried about if I miss a tiny bit somewhere. Just get in there. Alright. Then his cape here. Many folds and stuff on this cape. If you were going to go for a parade ready or even competition paint job on him, you could go crazy on this cloak. But that's not really what I'm interested in, and it's not really the kind of video I enjoy making, so that's not what we're going to do here. Alright, then we've got this side, and then we've got the cloth on the reins, and then we're good to go on this color, and then we just have one more color, which is the leather of the saddle and the straps on the horse, and then we will snap our fingers and put the wash on. And we'll have to touch up some things before we put the wash on, but because we're going to cooking show it, I won't bother fixing them up here. So the last color will be Gravelord Brown. And that'll be, so these straps holding on the leg armor here, we'll get those in this color. The straps coming down to the stirrups here. And then the saddle itself, which comes down here like this. Right in there. And right in here. And then get the other side of these straps here. Get both feet here. Nope, didn't get this foot. Right. There we go. Oh yeah, there's some straps up here by the neck, holding on the armor. One of them is visible on this side. I think this is one just here, just above that piece of armor there. Alright, and then the back legs. Alright, I think that's everything on him. Oh, the back of the saddle. Gotta get that. There we go. Now I believe that's everything. So, I'm just going to point out a couple mistakes that I'll need to fix up, and then I'll snap my fingers and grab the finished one. And we can see what we would do if we had another, if we could just skip an hour of time and wait for everything to dry. But, so, we've got a couple of mistakes around here. I'll have to tidy up the hair there. Not a problem. We'll do that. Tidy up the skin right here. Got to tidy up the purple there. And let's see where else. Just a little bit of the skin down in there. And maybe the armor right there. Otherwise, though, I think we're good. Did a pretty good job on that. So, like I said, we're now going to snap our fingers. Bam. He goes away. And the finished one comes out. So this is after a coat of Nuln Oil. As you can see, it goes into the blue really nicely and gives it a sort of tattered appeal, I think, anyway. It also smooths out the purple quite a bit. If you look here, you can see the difference in the purples. I think it's a very noticeable difference, personally. So there's that. And then we'll talk about the base really quick. So for the base, I use Armageddon Dust first. Then on top of that, I just dry brush it with Pallid Witch Flesh to give the contrast that we're about to use. Something else to grab onto. So the first color on the base is Snakebite Leather. Do that all over the base. And then while that's still wet, I grab some Gore Grunta Fur, if I can find it. Here it is. Gore Grunta Fur. And splotch that around in a couple places. And then, when that's completely dry, we get yes, this is it. This is from Gamer's Grass. It's called the Dry Step Set. It has 4 different tufts in it. And I'll show you them right here. It has these 4 colors of tuft. And we just use these and spread them around. Use some of each on every base. I think I used 2 of each on these bigger bases. You can see them there. They all come, like I said, they all come in here. So you get 140 tufts for $11. I think it's great. I should be able to do most of the army with 2 of these packs, so that's fine with me. And then I just paint the base from black, and that's it. So, pretty simple. Sort of time consuming just because of the amount of surface area that is on these models. But still, just for not that many colors, I think it yields a fine result. Thank you everybody for watching. Tomorrow I'll be releasing the video on painting the what the heck is he called? Just the plain Vampire Lord. So that'll be tomorrow. Then on Wednesday I'll be streaming the painting of some fell bats. It'll probably be a pretty short stream, but nonetheless it'll be cool. And then next week, this coming Saturday, the video for the new White King on Skeletal Steed will be out. That'll be out basically as the thing releases for sale. And then the following Monday will be Direwolf stream, I hope. And then the Saturday after that will hopefully be the Kragnos video. I hope to have him done for release day, but we'll see. But again, thank you everybody for watching. Whether you watched live or are watching sometime in the future on YouTube, I appreciate it either way, and I will see you next time.